Okay, good morning. Let's celebrate a couple things here this morning. Good weather in Buffalo. Great to see. And also Josh Allen's birthday, right? So want to celebrate that. And also great to see the turnout that Micah's, first and foremost, great to see Micah, but also great to see the fans support that event that Micah held the other day, and just really that connection of our team and our fans. And then I think it was a great day just to watch our players and the fans, to see our players with their helmets off and kind of just being themselves out there and having some fun. So great to see and a great day for it. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Is that a good thing, Josh turning 28? It's a reminder. I mean, he's getting older. No, but
you may want to experience that.
No, but when he's not getting any younger, you know what I mean? I mean, just sort of the fact that it's a reminder that, you know, he's been here for a while and he's as much as accomplished. There's still some things that are missing. And what have you seen of him over those years and how he's grown?
Yeah, I mean, tremendously impressed, proud. You know, first and foremost, you care for the person, right? And in the relationship that we've formed, and watching a player who, you know, not being from here, comes here and really makes his mark on the community, right? Let's just start there. And the type of person he is, the type of character he possesses. I mean, the things that he is, like most franchise quarterbacks, probably asked to do, even beyond the field, and how he handles all of those things. I think really, to me, that's what I'm most proud of. And that's been a true joy for me as a coach, to watch him grow and understand the responsibility that comes with being that face of the franchise. And everyone sees what happens, you know, on Sundays here, and how remarkable he is, and how he continues to still grow in that area as well. And I think that's also been neat to watch this spring, and watch his leadership continue to grow and evolve and develop, and him being intentional about that, and yet turning 28, as you said, and it goes by fast, right, like it does for all of us. So I'm just trying to enjoy the moments and watching him continue to grow and lead our football team.
You spoke about Micah's softball game. Through your conversations and someone who's gotten to know him over the past 7 or 8 years, has he given you any inkling whether or not he wants to continue playing here with the Bills?
Well, I think he said it publicly the other day that he was either going to the Bills or he was going to retire. So, and we have our, you know, private conversations as well. And Mike is always going to hold a special place in my heart. Again, I remember, you know, going on 8 years ago now, standing in front of you guys and introducing Mike as one of our first free agents that we signed here. So, again, the mark that he's made on this community and this team, this organization, it'll last a long time. And he and I were discussing the other day and the value of the softball game and home run derby. And I mean, it's real easy when you're done playing, right, to just, hey, done playing, I use that term loosely here with his situation, flexibly, to just not do that anymore, right? But I think it, again, shows the type of person, the type of character, the type of family that the Hydes are to continue to want to do that here in Buffalo. I mean, that just says a lot about who they are. So.
Fair to say that you just told Micah to stay in shape. Actually, like the AJ Klein thing last year, where you get thin and you need help, and you got a guy you trust, and he's in shape, plug him in.
Mike is always going to be on our radar, and you know, we'll see where it goes. So I think there's, you know, ultimately it'll be up to Micah and Brandon in terms of the decision and how that all comes to be. And but yes, overall, and Mike is built that way, right, Steve? As you know, he's always going to be in shape. He's out there, you know, being a husband, being a dad, and yet also I know he's making sure he's in good shape and ready to go.
What has it been like the last few weeks with so many new faces? And in any way, is it refreshing a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just it's hard to see the guys who have since moved on, that's hard to see, right? It's a necessary part of our business. But the new faces, getting those players up to speed, there's kind of a new excitement around, new energy, having to tell players how to get to the cafeteria, how to get to and where the team meeting room is. Some of it's first day of school type stuff, right? So. I've been very impressed with, number one, the attendance that we've had. We've had great attendance throughout the whole off season. A couple guys missing here and there, and I think Daquan's out today again, and Rasul. That's what I have to my knowledge at this point today. But the attendance has been great. The focus, day in and day out, has been tremendous. Going out there to practice for the second day now today, and watching those guys practice yesterday, how focused they were, intentional about improving. And again, just for us as coaches, the coaching staff, educating our players on our core beliefs, philosophically, the fundamentals that have to go with things, the detail that we need that leads to the execution we're going to need on Sundays. Just getting these players as up to speed as quickly as we can.
You say Rasul and Daquan are out. Does that mean hurt or they're not here?
Not here today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that's because of injuries, like we're not going to see out there today?
You will not see BT out there today. He's and then you won't see Milano out there today. Tommy Doyle, Spencer Brown. Spencer will be out there in some capacity, but not in the team drills.
What happened with Spencer? Micah mentioned it a couple days ago that he was kind of banged up.
Shoulder. Yeah, off-season surgery there, the shoulder.
What is your thought process on working Matt into the whole thing, back into it? How far away might he be from just to be out there?
Yeah, so the word I've gotten from our training staff is that he's on schedule. Matt's here every day. I can tell you that he's working hard. It's probably going to be more closer to training camp until we see him out there and, maybe some drill work before that, maybe not. It'll just be, how he continues to progress at this point.
Sean, kind of a little bit about just the experience that you're going to have at the receiver position and what kind of different dynamic that creates and opportunities that come out of that.
Yeah, a number of new faces. I think it was eight new faces or more. So it creates a different dynamic, to your point. It creates energy. It creates a little bit of a wait-and-see approach in terms of the competition, the evaluation, who fits into what roles, how we build our offense around who we have. So I really like the way that those guys are working. Coach Henry's doing a phenomenal job with them, and to their credit, they've all embraced, hey, you're going to be moving around, you're going to be trying different positions, we're going to be trying you out, and the mental piece that goes with that is not easy, and they've all embraced that, and my hat goes off to them for it.
What's it been like? Kind of evaluation for you overall at that position than there's been the last few years?
I mean, we always evaluate, but because of the newness, definitely an overall evaluation and just seeing who does what and what their strengths are, and I think that's an important piece of identifying their strengths as well this time of year.
With Keon specifically, what's it been like getting to know him on the field, but off the field as well?
Yeah, so probably a little bit different than the public's appreciation, I'll say, at this point for Keon and his gift for words, right? I have found certainly that, but that playful, fun person, but also a rather focused young man that's here to play football and help this team any way that he can. So I've appreciated that, and certainly appreciate too his wit and his sense of humor and whatnot. But I think more than anything, just him wanting to just, hey, how can I help the team, and going out there to compete every day.
To that point, last week he said, a jacket ain't going to get that done. I still have to make plays on the field. How important is that for a youngster coming in with this big personality to be rooted in that sense?
No, it's huge, right? Because a little bit of playfulness is good, and there's a certain time and place for it. But but Keon, from a young person standpoint in this league, understanding the importance of earning the respect of your teammates first and foremost, and the work that's got to be put in between now and earning your spot.
What kind of challenge is it for Connor McDermott, both mentally and physically, moving over to center?
I think more than anything, it's just call it a newness. Even though he's played there to some extent before, it's just more a newness to the position. Some mental, but Connor is just wired in such a way that he was probably already going through that in his mind because last year, he was in a role where he could have been moved over, in the course of a game to back up Mitch, what have you. So he's just so mentally consistent in his day-to-day approach, and I think that's really going to help us.
Do you have discussions with the second-year guys who had some success last year, Dalton, Osiris, those guys, to make sure that they're doing even more going into year two?
Discussions, yes. To do even more, I think you got to be careful there, right? Expectations changing means that this player has to do now this as opposed to doing this. Those guys are driven already that way. That's the thing with high achievers. They're always going to be, hey, how can I take another step? To your point, Josh. However, I think it's just important that they continue to grow, and whether it's on the field, whether it's some leadership capacity in terms of their growth and how they're, adding value to the team, I think that's all in due time, right? So I just think that, again, just they know what they want to get done, and helping them along the way without them going out there and feeling like they have to grip the bat tighter or other analogies that are used. Just continue to grow, continue to improve, and you'll help us win games.
Where are you on your timeline or your process of determining who's going to call defensive plays?
Yeah, not there. Sal, again, it's probably a more fair question at this point. When we're in the middle of the training camp, probably. So I won't make a decision before then. If I do, I'll let you know. But I think you guys can put that question in your back pocket until middle of training camp, I would say.
In OTAs, Coach, you're kind of like, I guess, what it looks like on the field. Does Bobby get a little bit of kind of time to do that a little bit? Do you do that and kind of work through it? How does it look?
Well, yes, but prematurely a little bit. We've only been out there for one practice, so a lot of our practice early on is always scripted. So there's very little, if any, play calling going on. It's more scripted out practices, scripted out situations.
How do you factor the 3 preseason games into whatever decision you come to or what you're comfortable with about keeping it or giving it to Bobby? Is there a plan of you're going to call the plays here in the preseason, first 2 games or something like that?
Well, I think, Tim, to your question, there's going to be intentionality on my part to make sure that whether it's practice or preseason games that Bobby's given that opportunity. So it's just a matter of when and for how long, right, that we do that. So being a former play caller myself, former being 6 years before I got here, and then last year again, you're always having to knock off some of the rust. You're always having to get yourself polished and ready to go because you've got to be able to process quickly, right? So down and distance, situation, time on the clock, timeouts, what you've already set up. There's a lot that happens fast, and so getting yourself to the right call quickly is important, and you got to kind of knock some of the rust off.
Would
you say that week 1 of OTAs, in terms of just introducing your systems on the field, is pretty similar to last year in terms of start from square one, or because of all the new players, it might be different?
You try not to make it different, Mark, which means regardless of how new you are, you want to start from step 0 and then get into step 1. That said, yeah, there's quite a number of new faces, as has been mentioned a number of times, and so it's not assuming anything at this point, right? Not assuming that a player coming to us, even from another team, knows what we value, right, and how we expect to play technique-wise, fundamentally, so on and so forth.
You guys have brought in a lot of pieces in the wide receiver room. Chase Claypool, one of them, had a bunch of ups and downs. What went into the conversations and bringing him in, and what has been your impression since he's arrived?
Yeah, very impressed with Chase. Really just starting with his approach. Here's a veteran receiver, former high pick, that has been on a journey, right, through the course of recently his career, and I applaud Chase for coming here to, see where things go, right, and so he's very focused. He's working extremely hard day in and day out, and embracing not just the wide receiver role that he could play for us, but also the special teams role that he could play for us. So you don't find that a lot around the NFL, where a player has been at a certain level and then is on a mission right now to reclaim what he once was in that regard. And those are my words, maybe not fair to Chase, respectfully, but I would just say, very impressed with his day-to-day approach. True pro, high character, smart player, and been a good addition to our team.
Sean, along those same lines, what did you like about this gambling as well?
Yeah, so, similar conversation, I would say. So, veteran player, I think he's won 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken, and played with, good offenses, good quarterbacks, and you learn from those situations, right, when you go through those. And I've enjoyed our short, albeit time together, just learning some of the things that he's picked up along the way. And again, just a guy that seems like, again, short exposure, but he's focused on helping a team and adding the value that he can add to our football team.
Sean, can you talk about the report that the team's going to add John Perry on staff?
Sorry?
John Perry, the referee commentator, there was a report that the team was going to add him. Can you talk about that?
No, that's accurate. Yeah, so fortunate that we can add John to our staff. I think it basically just is, to me, easiest put, that you're always looking to improve, right? We had a similar role on staff last season, and now we had a chance to add John, who's basically been in the seat in some capacity in the role that he possessed with the broadcast over the last couple of years, at least that I'm aware of, on Monday nights there, with going under the hood, albeit on television, to review plays and everything, and more, I think that's getting more attention, and it'll play a more, as we go, pivotal role in games, and you guys see it every week, right? So it's just trying to, by the nth degree, continue to find ways to make us better, and whether it's reviewing plays, being experts in the rules, managing games, all those things. So even Monday through Saturday, some of those areas, I just think you can never get enough of it.
Will his responsibilities go beyond game day on Sunday then?
Yes. Yep.
Sean, how beneficial is it, especially this time of year, to bring in guys when they're new, like Mike Edwards, who is familiar with the same type of system that he's had in Kansas City, even D, late in the process here, to get him playing for Todd. Go out there now, and it's a little bit, maybe similar in a lot of ways. How beneficial is that this time of year?
With Mike, you were saying?
Mike Edwards and D Delaney as well, who've had a little bit of kind of familiarity with the same type of system.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, again, a couple of veteran players that have seen Mike in this case. I'll speak more on Mike's situation, just been around him a little bit longer. He's seen some success as well in his career, and you take some things out of those experiences. And I should add, Mike's dealing with a little bit of a shoulder right now for the next 3-4 weeks. But beyond that, he's been a good addition to our team, and really liked the way he played this past season, in particular with Kansas City, and the seasons before that with Tampa.
How do you feel about where Vaughn is physically and his ability to maybe
maybe get back to closer to where he was before the injury?
Yeah, I think we take it on a one-day-at-a-time basis. Vaughn spent some time away and he came back this weekend, and so yesterday got a chance to see him out there, which was good to see, working with his teammates. And Vaughn's attitude is always a good one, so it's good to have him around.
So we talked to you about Austin Johnson. Was before you had met him. It was like when that was still in progress. What's it been like now getting to see him around here or getting to know him more?
Yeah, a veteran player again that has experience, and he's a fun guy to be around. He likes to joke around, and yet he knows based on the position he plays, it gets serious awfully fast, right when you're inside, in particular on those line of scrimmage roles. So I've enjoyed getting to know him and some of his sense of humor as well.
Sean, you touched on it a little bit earlier.
This is the last one. I go there. So.
You touched on it a little bit earlier, the turnover that happens every offseason, but how much different was it this time around because of the guys who have been here so long with you, Tre'Davious and Micah and Jordan, just guys who have been here, Mitch Morris, guys who have been here a long time?
Yeah, those are guys that I'll take with me for years, the rest of my life, right? Our relationships, the memories that we've had over the years, the mark that they've made on this organization and this community, and can't thank them enough. But our relationships will continue, and so that piece is hard. At the same time, it's the job that we're in. It's the duty that we're called to do, and that's onboard new players, right? Onboard new staff as well, and so we're working hard to get those guys up to speed as quickly as we can and get them going here. All right, thanks, guys.